This was a wild year of firsts, scandals, and just new chaos unlocked. So we're doing an end of year review. Some of these questions came from you guys, and some of them from my own brain spirals. And honestly, 2025 gave us a lot to talk about. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's unpack 2025 in BL together. Hey guys, I'm Blush. I can't believe the year is coming to an end, so if you've watched a couple of my videos, it'd mean the world to me if you check if you're subscribed. It really helps me out. If you're new here, well, what a great video for you to stumble on. I promise we're not as deranged as I make us sound. Over here, we talk all things BL, the shows, the actors, and the industry dynamics. If that sounds like something you're interested in, subscribe! Also, if you watch BLs across different platforms and regions, you already know the struggle. NordVPN lets you switch your virtual location so you can actually access content without jumping through a million hoops. I use it all the time, especially when shows are available in one region but not the other. My own subscription is almost up, and you bet I'll be renewing while the best deal of the year is on. I'll leave it in the pinned comment. Reminder that this is an opinion video. I'm not here to attack your favorite show, your ship, or your personal happiness. I'm just talking about how these BLs hit for me this year, and also how I felt about all the industry dynamics. If you had a different experience, I actually want to hear it. Disagree respectfully, discuss in the comments, and let's keep it cute. And I'm just one person trying to keep up with the entire global industry, so if you feel like I missed talking about a major event, please mention it below. Heck, maybe we need a part 2. I was already thinking of doing a separate video just for GMMTV because they're kind of their own ecosystem. Let me know what you think of that. Okay, let's get into the questions. Which BL surprised you by being way better than its trailer? Ball Boy Tactics, and I'm gonna be honest, I did not think anything of this series, like at all. I put it on as a background noise during one of those rare moments where I had nothing to watch. And then suddenly I was hooked. And it's not that the trailer was bad, it was just a normal trailer. I fully expected a cookie cutter campus romance. But instead, a genuine breath of fresh air from Korea. The big jock guy being the one who's completely okay with being out and making the relationship public, loved that. The humor actually lands. The side characters are hilarious, and low-key, we need another season just for them because yes, we ship it. The pacing was solid, there wasn't random filler BS, miscommunication didn't drag on forever, and shockingly, the characters actually talked about their feelings? What? The problems felt real, not like dramatic for no reason problems. So yeah, if you want an easy watch that still makes you want to see what happens next, Ball Boy Tactics is that girl. Also, these kiss scenes were long. Thought I should throw that in there. The BL that felt like homework. Alright, I'm gonna have to give this one to Desire, and honestly, this one is probably user error. I had to rewatch episodes multiple times because I went in not fully understanding the Omegaverse lore. The subtitles were not doing me any favors, and I kept mixing up who everyone was and what they even did for a living. Like, first you need to understand the Omegaverse hierarchy. Alpha, Beta, Omega, and who outranks who. Then, on top of that, you need to track the business dynamics, which companies they work for, what positions they hold, and who technically has power over who. Once I finally got a grip on all that, ooh, suddenly the show got spicy. Before that, I generally thought Hua was some broke club worker that Buddy took in out of pity, only to find out halfway through that he's actually the richest and most powerful character in the entire series. Imagine my shock. But I'm glad that I went back and made sense of it because Desire was taking real risks, to the point that it literally got pulled from Chinese-owned platforms mid-run. So yeah, it was homework, but the kind you respect once you understand the syllabus. I know this wasn't everyone's cup of tea, and I mean, I don't think the Omegaverse is supposed to be anyways. And if you want to know more about the controversies around that and everything that happened while it was airing, I have a video on it, of course. An eye-opening moment. One of the most eye-opening moments in BL this year was honestly the whole revenge love situation, and not even because of the show itself. It was everything around it. Watching how fast things escalated really made it clear how powerful and organized global fandoms can be, especially on Chinese platforms, and how quickly censorship, parasocial behavior, and entitlement can collide. What stood out to me was how unprepared the industry felt when it happened. Like, there was no real system in place to protect the actors once things went left. It wasn't about one series messing up, it was a moment that made BL feel way bigger than before and also way more fragile. Like, this genre is global now, and the growing pains are very real. I have an entire video breaking all that down too. I'm trying not to spend so much time on every question in this video, and I'll try my best to put all the videos that I do talk about in the description box. Which character made the worst decisions consistently and confidently? I might as well answer this question next because this motherfucker If I had $1 for every time he thought he was 10 steps ahead, I'd be filming this from a yacht. Every single time he was like, I fooled everyone. No one sees me coming. And then immediate consequences. But honestly, what else can you expect when the entire show starts because he decides to pursue who he thinks his ex-girlfriend's new man is just to get back at her? Insanity. We loved it. We still think about it. Which BL lost you halfway through and never got you back? And I say this sadly. Pit Babe 2. This felt like homework that I just wasn't willing to do, which sucks because I watched season 1 twice and actually enjoyed it, but season 2, everything felt off. The side couples all wanted main character arcs, but none of them went deep enough to feel cohesive. The world building was still confusing, nothing felt serious anymore, and at some point, everyone either came back to life, showed up as a doppelganger, or just rejoined the friend group like nothing happened. It got predictable fast, and I knew it was bad when I realized I was only watching it for the new guy's cute face, which, listen, not a bad reason, just not the one I was expecting. Was it the worst BL of 2025? No, definitely not. And let's be real, it wasn't a flop. It still did numbers because people love this cast and we're happy to see them together again. But if I'm halfway through and still unsure, that's probably a no from me, or at least a meh. I didn't finish it. Maybe it got better, but I needed more than vibes and familiarity and it just never pulled me back. My favorite feel-good campus BL. Alright, listen, school campus BLs are the bread and butter of this genre, of this community. So yes, this deserved its own question. For me, it's kind of a tie between Your Sky and Forever You, and naturally, I immediately fell in love with the secondary couples in both shows, as one does. I also really enjoyed getting to know the new Domundi boys, and we have to talk about that unscripted kiss where the director was basically like, who told you to kiss here?
Fall in love, 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 love. เลยครับนี่เอมาไอ้มึงจูบกันครับ3 เทค 1จูบเลย A B เอ็นสเลตครับ
Because exactly, that's cinema. I didn't really need to use my brain for either of these shows, but I still genuinely wanted to see what happened next, which is the sweet spot. Comfort without boredom. And there's something nostalgic about a Studio Wabi Sabi Campus BL. Even though there were more episodes than usual, it never felt dragged out, probably because they did a good job rotating between the couples. These were just warm, easy, feel good in a way that Campus BLs are supposed to be. The BL moment that made the genre feel bigger than before. Listen, a lot of stuff has happened. But I'm going to choose this one, because I'm not really talking about GMMTV much in this video, so I'll talk about them now. GMMTV just had its first truly global Netflix release with Dare You to Death, starring Jung Dunk. This wasn't a regional drop, it was worldwide. And that matters because Netflix doesn't make those decisions based on Twitter hype. They clearly saw real data from previous GMMTV series like watch time, completion rates, international interest, and decided it was worth licensing globally. That's a vote of confidence from one of the biggest media companies in the world saying this kind of content is mainstream viable. What's also interesting is that Netflix didn't even market it as a BL, but as a mystery with romantic elements, which opens it up to non-BL viewers while still serving fans. To me, that moment signaled that BL, especially Thai BL, was moved beyond niche fandom spaces and into real global television. They're not afraid that some non-BL viewer will stumble across it and be like, oh my god, what is this? But almost confident that they'll be like, oh my god, what is this? At first, I was kind of mad that they were trying to be nonchalant about it being a BL by not including it somewhere easy to see. I thought this was kind of rude to the BL industry, not giving it its own genre label. But then I thought, maybe Two Guys in Love is finally just that normal, and it shouldn't need a BL tag, almost acting like a warning label to people who may not care for it. Anyway, I'm still on the fence about this because I don't really know the intention behind it, so I retracted my madness for now, and I'm just happy to see it's on a global platform. Which also ties into this question asked by you guys. This year, BLs like Kimjira, Shine, Mandate, and Bangkok Boys seem to move away from spotlighting a queer couple towards simply normalizing them as part of story-driven narratives, even raising socio-political questions. Do you see this shift too? What changes stood out to you this year? Yeah, I definitely see this shift, and it's one of the more interesting changes this year. BLs like Kimjira, Shine, Mandate, and the Bangkok Boy don't feel like they're built around the idea of, look, a queer couple, anymore. The characters are are just queer, and the story doesn't stop to justify or spotlight that as the main event. The conflict isn't always about coming out, identity angst, or being accepted. It's about systems, power, class, corruption, ambition, loyalty, or survival. The relationships exist within those pressures instead of being the sole point of tension. These shows trust the audience to accept queer relationships as normal parts of the world, not special cases that need explanation. We're still in that weird overlapping point where a show like Kimjira did reach the mainstream Lacorn Thai viewers, and it did receive some off comments like, it's perfect if it wasn't two guys in love. Or even trying to justify Kang's character only liking Nampang's character because he was a reincarnation of his original female love interest. So yeah, I fear this discourse is inevitable, but we have to get through it. Best concept, but fumbled the execution. Y'all, I was excited for this. Like, excited. I literally dedicated an entire video to it, and to be clear, in the general BL world, this was not a flop. It was popular. It trended. People showed up. Money was spent. Promo events were packed. But I can't help but wonder how this series would have landed if it didn't have two of the most influential faces in BL, plus almost 3 years of on and off hype carrying it. Because the concept, genuinely unique, political intrigue, loyalty, power dynamics, I really thought they were going to go deep into the lore. Instead, it felt restrained, like it was scared to fully commit to its own world building. And the more I watched, the more I felt like the story actually would have worked better as a movie, where it would have been tighter, more focused, and had a higher impact. Again, not a flop. If it were a flop, people wouldn't have spent money on it. It wouldn't have trended on iQIYI for weeks, and no one would have shown up the way they did. I just didn't get what I was looking for. The idea was bigger than the execution. Not in the budget type of way, like obviously that was big. I just thought I was in for more substance than I actually got. There's so many mixed opinions on the next Prince. I would love to hear your guys's. Alright, another one coming in from you guys. I really like this one. What do you think makes a good BL a good BL? I feel like a lot of people have different opinions, whether it's a plot, chemistry, or even if there are NC scenes. So true, and I find it's because BL isn't really a genre anymore. It's almost a spectrum. The show can either have the entire focus be on the CP's relationship, kind of like with When It Rains It Pours, or something more like Jack and Joker, where the plot sort of came first and then they made time for the romance second. I think the chemistry between the leads has to be there in order for the BL to even be considered good or bad. If the leads don't feel believable together, or react naturally to each other, or make you want to keep watching, then the BL collapses, no matter how good the plot is. And no, this doesn't mean NC scenes galore. It means tension, comfort, timing, eye contact, the overall energy. Then we can talk about plot, if it was hitting or not. Like, yeah, it's probably a big part of the series doing well, but sometimes actors and their chemistry can still carry a shitty plot. NC scenes can feel a bit there just for vanity reasons these days. It's like when someone on social media has 1 million followers but gets like 50 views. What's going on here? But the NC scenes can literally multiply the chemistry if they manage to reflect character development or change the dynamic in some way, especially when it feels earned. That's when they hit. Tamepo earlier this year had some kiss scenes eventually, but the whole damn show was tension, comfort, eye contact, and people kept watching. Also, Willie and Mest were a new CP pairing, so not like we knew they were going to hit, and the plot was also good, so that helped. But when NC scenes literally exist to just trend, they might spike engagement for a day or two, but not the overall quality. And what I said can be said for any romantic genre really, but one thing I find happens often with BL specifically is they can't keep consistency with their tone. I'm sorry y'all, I'm gonna pour salt on the almost healed wound here in a bit, but these series switch tones randomly. They don't know if they're fluffy or dark. They'll randomly mix comedy and trauma without any sort of transition, and we're trying to relate to these characters and what they're feeling, but we're like, what are they feeling? And yes, GMMTV's Kidnap comes to mind. Although it aired in 2024, I feel it fits the bill for what I'm trying to explain. So honestly, this is very subjective, and it all comes down to why you're watching BL. Some watch BL as romance escapism, so they want the chemistry first. Some watch it as storytelling, so they want the plot first. Some watch it as queer representation, so they want the realism. Some watch it as fandom culture content, so they might Just be looking for specific moments that'll make a killer edit. None are wrong, but you can see where the discourse can happen when people are arguing why a show was good or bad. Okay, that was a lot. Hopefully I made sense. Quick pause before we move on. If you want to support the channel a little extra, memberships are open. It helps me keep making videos like this, and you get small perks like early access, meaning you're already watching while I'm still low-key stressed about the thumbnail violating community guidelines. And you also get loyalty badges next to your name, so everyone knows you're not new here. Like, you've seen things. You are a resident here. Honestly, just your support in any way means more than you know, but if you want to join, the join button is below. Okay, back to the video. Who are some characters that have had the best character development? Okay, my mind instantly goes to our youth, and yes, this one we're going to have to do a little disclaimer because it's true that one of the leads got into trouble due to his own gross actions after the series finished airing, and we're not going to pretend it doesn't exist, but I think two things can be true at once. What he did was wrong, and he's been sentenced accordingly, but his actions shouldn't undo the rest of the people's success and hard work. I think we're mature enough here to separate the two. Anyways, this series technically started in 2024 and went into 2025, but I think both of the characters had amazing character development. Even with the time skip, which I'm not very fond of in general, it still landed. There's a reason this series has such a high rating, and I think it's because of the journey we go on with both of the characters. It is unfortunate that the actor's actions have ruined Hirukawa's arc somewhat because it was very solid character development for both mains. Which BL suffered the most from external drama? Oh, do we have contenders for this? Here's my runner-up. Earlier in the year, we had the episode 9 Taempo controversy with accusations of William being too young for his shirtless kiss scene with S, even though he was 20 years old. And then GMMTV took all the edits away from their socials, which created an outcry from the other side of the fandom, accusing the company for not protecting their artists against these accusations, and letting them be proud of their work. I have a few Taempo videos out there if you want all the receipts. I find this fizzled out just as fast as it came up. But hands down, the most exhausting, never-ending drama was everything that happened between Top Form WeTV, Tylai Entertainment, Smart, and Grand Ivory Records. Its success triggered an agency war, conflicting contracts, public statements, canceled schedules, and emotional fan-facing moments turned what should have been a celebration into a very public collapse, and the artists were stuck in the middle. What really pushed it over the edge was how public everything became. Fans weren't just watching agency statements, they were watching Smart Boom visibly break down at fan events, seeing Boom caught in the crossfire, and then Smart going live himself, clearly exhausted and emotional. It stopped being agency beef and started feeling like two real people paying the price for corporate power struggles, and by the end, there were apologies, vague new agreements, and a lot of damage control. But the damage was already done. Smart Boom didn't end because fans lost interest. It ended because the infrastructure around them collapsed under its own greed and poor communication. So that's why Top Form had so much outside drama. The mess wasn't the show. It was everything fighting over it. This is another question from one of you guys, and it's actually for me. Did having a channel make me watch more or less BL? And did it feel like work or entertainment? Honestly, both, but in a good way. Having the channel definitely made me watch more BL, especially things I probably wouldn't have checked out before. I'm more curious now. Different countries, different styles, different concept, because I'm always thinking about the bigger picture and what's happening in the genre. It did change how I watch though, because BL used to be pure escapism. Now there's always a little voice in my head noticing pacing, chemistry, writing choices, and how the fandoms are reacting. So sometimes, it can feel like work, especially if I'm pushing through something I'm not fully vibing with just to understand why it landed. But here's the thing, because I still work 12-hour shifts at a hospital, this doesn't actually feel like work to me. Maybe it would have if I quit my job or something and started doing this full time, but that is nowhere in my near future. And after a long shift, I genuinely look forward to coming home, cracking open my laptop, and working on a new video. It feels like my creative reset, not another obligation. Even on my breaks at work, many times I have my laptop while others are napping, and I get weird looks asking if I'm still in school, and I'm like, yes, I'm studying Boys in Love. Very rigorous program. When a BL really hits, I still forget I even have a channel. I binge, I get invested, I get emotional like everyone else. The difference now is that I also get to talk about it, unpack it, and share that experience with you guys, and honestly, that makes BL even more enjoyable than it was before. So yeah, BL stopped being just comfort viewing, but it turned into something I actually look forward to in a deeper way. And I'll also say this, it helps a lot that you guys are so patient with me. Even when there's a longer gap between uploads, I'm not met with pressure or guilt. Most of the time it's just miss you comments or people checking in and asking if I'm okay. And that honestly means everything. I think that's probably the biggest reason I can keep coming back to this without that looming, impending doom feeling a lot of creators talk about. It doesn't feel like I'm letting people down, even though sometimes I am a bit hard on myself. It feels like I'm coming back to a space that actually wants me to be good first and productive second. And that kind of support makes creating feel safe, not stressful. So yeah, that part matters more than you guys probably realize. Anyways, that's all for this tag so far. Let me know if you guys want a specific GMMTV one because there's probably a lot that happened this year over there as well. I hope wherever you are, you're ending the year with a little rest, a little comfort, and at least one show that made you feel something. And I hope next year brings us better stories, healthier fandom spaces, and more BL that surprise us in the best ways. Take care of yourselves, be gentle with each other, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!